All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. Glad you could join us. A reminder, coming up in hour number 2, Jameson Welsh from Drive Time Sports. Is LeBron James tanking games for the Lakers? We'll get that from Jameson and some new rumors on a possible new UNLV head coach. I don't know if I agree with it, but Jameson's got some information to join us in hour number 2. A reminder tomorrow, keeping on that basketball. You know, we got so many great college basketball tournaments coming to Vegas. People don't even realize this. The West Coast Conference tournament starts tomorrow at the Orleans Arena. We got the WAC. We got the Mountain West Conference next week. We got the Pac-12 at the T-Mobile Arena. So there's a lot of basketball to talk about as well. And my friend Marcus Fizer, you might remember that name at Iowa State, National Player of the Year over at Iowa State, had a great NBA career. He's going to be joining us in studio. He lives here in Vegas. He'll be joining us tomorrow, too, talk a little hoops. Friday is going to be a jam-packed day. As I mentioned, Danny Tarkanian is going to be in studio on Friday, and the legend himself, Dana Carvey. That's right, Wayne's World. Some of my favorite movies of all time would be Wayne's World. Dana's going to be joining us as well. He's actually performing in Vegas Friday night. So the rest of the week, jam-packed for you. We're going to have a lot of fun. I wanted to talk a little bit about Brit Hume. That's right, Brit Hume, Mr., as I like to call him, Mr. No Personality over there at Fox News. So it's amazing how much coverage Ocasio-Cortez gets. And let's remember, she's a freshman, okay? She hasn't really accomplished anything yet. I think she's a smart lady. I think she's very attractive, and she speaks out. And time will tell if she does a good job. I don't know.
Well, clearly smart and attractive are cohesive.
Well, look, I don't think you can be stupid and get to where she has gotten, if that makes sense.
Definitely synonymous.
But anyway, it seems like Fox News, they're like obsessed with her. They're always talking about her. And I'm like, why are you she doesn't speak for the Democratic Party. Why are you talking about her? Anyway, so Brit Hume, who I've never been a huge fan of, I'd rather watch paint dry than listen to this guy talk. But he was speaking to Tucker Carlson, who I think is another complete buffoon, way to the right buffoon. He's a senior political analyst. And this is what he said about Ocasio-Cortez. He said, whatever this stuff is, it makes a lot of news. And that's why Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, for all her callousness and arguable shallowness, is able to become so prominent. She makes news. He then added, she's kind of compelling. She's kind of adorable, sort of, in the way that a 5-year-old child can be adorable. Tucker Carlson says, yes. And then he goes on to say, at the moment, I think it's fair to say she is the de facto leader of the Democrats in the House of Representatives. No, she's not. What is Brit Hume talking about? No, she's not. She's a freshman. She just got there. She absolutely is not the leader of the Democrats in the House. He is wrong. And calling her adorable, any grown man that age calling her adorable is disgusting, first of all. Don't use that word adorable. Her look should have absolutely no bearing on this discussion if you are talking about her policies and if you're talking about politics. See, here's my problem with somebody like Brit Hume. You're going to say that Ocasio-Cortez is a 5-year-old. He's basically calling her like a 5-year-old. But I could name somebody else right now at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Well, he's patronizing her. He's making it seem like she doesn't know what she's talking about at all.
Okay, that's fine. But here's my question: if you're going to call Ocasio-Cortez a 5-year-old, what about the man who's in the White House right now? He acts like a child all the time. But I don't hear the stiff Brit Hume.
Did you just call Donald Trump adorable, Brian?
I certainly didn't say that. I think he's disgusting to look at, and I think most women would agree with me. But here nor there. What I'm trying to say is that you have to be consistent, and Brit Hume is a hack. You're going to call Ocasio-Cortez a 5-year-old. I've never heard him criticize the president in any way, shape, or form, anywhere close to that. Same thing with a guy like a Jesse Waters, who I think is another talentless guy who sounds like a chipmunk. Jesse Waters, I've never heard him criticize Donald Trump. I've never heard him criticize anybody on the right. Now, look, there are people on CNN that do the exact same thing. It is very rare that somebody like a Don Lemon will intensely criticize somebody on the left. Certainly not MSNBC, a lot of people on MSNBC. But aren't we tired of this? Why is Brit Hume, who is a stiff, if anyone is watching, he's a stiff, he has no personality. Why?
I'll tell you why. Brit Hume and everybody at Fox News, they view Ocasio-Cortez as a threat because she's young, she's attractive, and she appeals to social media. And you have all these very, very young people who are on social media following this person. And a lot of them are left-wing. They're African American, they're Latino American, and she relates to those people, and Fox News knows that, and that's why they look at her as a threat, not now, but in the future.
Well, if you do look at her as a threat, you probably shouldn't call her a 5-year-old. You probably shouldn't comment on her appearance. I think that's just pure stupidity. And a guy like Britt Hume, is a partisan hack. That's what he does. Same thing with Tucker Carlson. This is what they do. And it's interesting because you won't hear this story on Fox News. Apparently, Donald Trump wanted to hide his high school transcripts. He went to this New York military academy. Then apparently the then headmaster was pushed to make sure that no one would be able to access Trump's records from his time as a student. This is according to the Washington Post.
Have you read the documentary about that, or have you watched the documentary about that? His dad used to bring women to him, and he got this reputation as this ladies' man because his dad kept bringing women to him.
Yeah, I wonder where Trump gets it from.
when he was at this academy, which, I mean, it's just kind of crazy. I don't have a problem with this at all. Who cares? Do you really care about
Wait,
Donald
hold on.
Trump?
Do you have a problem with what his father did?
I'm talking about his grades, Brian.
Here's why I have a problem with it. The answer is yes. Because for 5 years we heard Donald Trump talk
because it's Donald Trump.
No, I was going to give you my reason. For 5 years, Donald Trump claimed that Barack Obama needed to show his birth certificate, and it was a false claim that he wasn't born in this country. Where he showed his birth certificate, he was. Donald Trump has a history of of lashing out at other people for not being honest and transparent. Where he won't show his tax returns, he never will, unless they subpoena his unless he has to show them, he won't. And yet this is the man who, had his own people make sure that his high school transcripts were never released. Yes, I do have a problem with that based on what he's done. Yes.
Sounds like a Division I athlete at any major school.
Well, we're not talking about a Division I athlete, though. We are talking about the president of the United States who wants everyone else to be transparent. But when it comes to his own business dealings, personal dealings, grades, he's not transparent. Okay. I have a problem with that.
If somehow he delivered an IQ test that showed his IQ was actually 150 plus, which he claims is, would you still have a problem with it?
Say that again?
If somehow Donald Trump delivered an IQ test, because he says his IQ is about 150 to 160. If he was able to deliver an IQ test that proved that, would you still have a problem with it?
Yes. I still want to know why his high school – it's not about what his grades were as much as –
So it's a principle thing.
It's not about what his grades were as much as why he went through great lengths to hide them. The superintendent of this school, Jeffrey Coverdale, confirmed earlier this week that members of the school's board of trustees initially wanted him to hand over President Trump's records to them, but Coverdale said he refused. He said he was given directives, part of which I could follow, but part of which I could not, and that was handing them over to the trustees. I moved them elsewhere on campus where they could not be released. It's the only time I ever moved an alumni's record. Let's take some phone calls on this at 257-5396, 702-257-5396. Do you have a problem with this? And as well as what Britt Hume said in talking about Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez calling her a 5-year-old and commenting on her physical appearance. Again, that number 257-5396. Let's start with Justin. Justin, go ahead.
Hey, Justin.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
About AOC, but didn't she just say that the other day that she's the boss? I think she said because nobody else is bringing any of these, any of this stuff to light, that she's the boss, right?
Well, I think I understand where she was going with that. The reason why she made that comment is because she wants people to be on her side, way on her side, or
I think she's very, very smart with the way that she operates. She actually a few days ago she said that men fear me because I have just as much power as them. She's just making over the top crazy statements to grab attention to herself, and then she comes through with her actual intelligence, and it's working. I think she said some really, like the Green Deal. The new Green Deal is completely insane. It would cost every single American citizen $600,000. It'd be a $93 trillion operation. But
that's another thing. I couldn't really consider her smart.
Well, I'm just saying she makes these very over the top statements, and then she comes through with other things.
Let me ask you a question, Justin. And I don't know what Cortez IQ is, but would you consider Donald Trump smart?
Oh, absolutely.
So you think Donald Trump is extremely intelligent, but you don't think Cortez has a brain? Is that what you're saying?
Not necessarily. I wouldn't consider her. I just don't consider her really bright. I mean.
All right. Well, let me ask you this: Why do you consider Donald Trump bright? What has he done that you would say, "Wow, he's a genius"?
He has a lot of achievements in life. I mean, he did go to I know his parents had a lot of money and
yes,
stuff.
They did.
But a good school.
Uh-huh.
But he isn't really necessarily unintelligent.
Well,
No,
give me.
yeah, and his lineage is strong too, intelligence-wise.
I want to get into Justin's brain right here, and I want to figure out why you think Donald Trump is so smart. Now, you're right. He grew up with a lot of money. Okay, he ran The Apprentice. I wouldn't call him bright for doing that. I think he's a loudmouth and he gets attention, and he's very good at that. But just because you are good at getting attention and getting ratings for The Apprentice, I wouldn't say that's because you're smart. He took over a $400 million company from his father. And he started with a lot of money. He was making $300,000 a year since when he was 6 months old, starting then. So Justin,
I think he was 8 years old.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, it's like how he operates, though. It's not necessarily. You could say he came with a lot of money and things like that, but you don't think that he doesn't put a lot of thought in the way he tries to get attention from the media and the things he
No.
says?
I don't.
Brian, Donald Trump is a master marketer.
I disagree. Justin, let me answer that. I think he's very impulsive.
No, listen, the same way AOC says things she says, she gets the attention. It's a smarter way. He's doing the same thing.
Actually, AOC is following his lead because he's the one that started that.
I'm not the one who said that Cortez was a genius. I didn't say she was a genius. I think she's fair. I think she has a brain to get to where she was. Donald Trump, at his age, he's had yes men around him his whole life. He does things the way he wants to do things, and he's extremely impulsive with what he does.
Right, but it's the way he thinks, though. It's the way he thinks and the way he does things.
Name me one thing he did that you think that an average person with an average brain couldn't do.
Well, I know. An IQ isn't necessarily how book smart somebody is. An IQ is how they take in information and how they process it.
Fair enough. Give me one example of something that he's done in his life that
how
you
they
don't
process it and how they use it.
Give me one example.
The fact that he walks in when he's about to go bankrupt, and he walks in and he sells these books to the people that are about to go bankrupt on him, and he tells them he's going to turn things around. And what does he do? He turns everything around, and he goes from being bankrupt being back to being a billionaire.
It's because he borrowed money. I wouldn't call that a genius. He borrowed money.
Hey, Brian, you know what Trump's grandfather did? Trump's grandfather was during the gold rush.
Yeah.
He was a hotel guy. And he moved his first of all, he moved his hotel because he recognized people were going to California or to Oregon to get gold. He moved his hotel via barge down the river. And he noticed that these horses were dying. So he sold horse meat to all these different people that were trying to be part of the gold rush and started a hotel and made millions doing it. That's what Donald Trump's grandfather, the immigrant from Germany,
I understand, but
did.
we're not talking about him. We're talking about Donald Trump.
And his father,
that has nothing to do with Donald Trump.
His father leveraged every single loophole he could in the government to build his real estate business.
I'm not going to
They're not stupid people.
Okay, but we weren't talking about them. We're talking about Donald Trump, though. That's different, though. I'm not going to debate you on that. You're right. Donald Trump hasn't, in my opinion, Donald Trump is, to me, how you can say he's just this super intelligent man when he was born into this wealth. I'm sorry, I'm just not going to buy it.
Just because you're born rich doesn't mean you're stupid.
No, but I respect a guy like Mark Cuban a lot more than I do Donald Trump. I'll tell you that right now.
The Cubes is smart, I agree.
Or Barack Obama. He was not born into wealth. He had to work hard to get to where he went. 257-5396. Kelly, thanks for joining us. How are you?
Hey, Kelly.
Good. How are you?
Doing good. What's on your mind?
Well, I mean, you always bring up the Barack Obama birth certificate issue, but
of course,
the reason. But I mean, first of all, the Constitution has 3 requirements for being president of the United States. One of them being a citizen.
Mm-hmm.
Nowhere in the Constitution does it say, you have to release your taxes.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be, you have to show your high school transcripts. Doesn't even ask for college transcripts or any transcripts.
Mm-hmm.
So. It is a legitimate question to verify someone.
But it wasn't a question. It wasn't a question. Trump said for years that he believed that Barack Obama was not born in this country.
No, I know that. It doesn't. I know Trump said that, and
that's not right,
I
Kelly.
disagree with that, but I'm just saying. You're always harping. Everyone's harping on taxes. There's no legal.
I never said he had to, Kelly. Kelly, I never said that the law said he had to show his taxes. I just find it very peculiar.
It's like you're forgetting that Donald Trump is still a citizen of the United States with rights.
Yeah, no, it's not about that. Every president seems to show their taxes, but Donald Trump, at least the last several presidents. Why is it that Donald Trump will not show his tax returns? I'll tell you why, because he's got something to hide. It's not because he has no reason to. If he wanted to just get this over with.
And are you asking for
he would.
tax returns for every single individual LLC that he has? Because he has thousands of LLCs. It could take a long time to show all that.
Things involved.
He's done more business than probably the last 20 presidents combined.
I'll tell you why. Because I think Donald Trump is a liar, and I think he's told everyone how much money he is worth.
What's funny is I think that Donald Trump is playing this perfectly. what he does
So
is
this
he
is a
gets everyone
game?
like, oh, yeah, Russian collusion, fine, play this. I'll just constantly say it's a witch hunt,
Uh-huh.
and then, you know, the Mueller report's going to
Okay.
come out,
Yeah.
and it's going to show he was right.
All right. Well,
And
Kelly,
then they're going to be like, well, we're going to do all this, you know, we're going to spend the next 2 years subpoenaing 80 people,
Yeah.
bring them all over here,
Mhm.
and in the end, he's going to be like, you see, you found nothing.
All right,
Here's
well,
my you got my taxes.
I hear what
it's
you're
gonna
saying.
Make them look bad.
I hear what you're saying, Kelly, but let me, and I appreciate the call as always, Kelly. Thank you for calling in. I'll say this. It's not a game. Ask Paul Manafort if this is a game. Ask Flynn if this is a game. Ask Papadopoulos if this is a game. Ask all the people in the Trump administration if they think this is just a game. All the people that lied to the FBI, all the people that lied about Russia. Ask them if they think it's a game. Many of these people are going to go to jail. Ask Michael Cohen if he thinks this is a game. This is not a game. And Donald Trump is going to be held accountable, and he won't show his tax returns. And in my personal opinion, I think there is a reason why, and we're going to find out. 257-5396. Let's go to Mike. Mike, thanks for calling in.
What's up,
Hey,
Mike?
how's it going tonight, guys?
Doing good, my friend. What's on your mind?
Doing really well.
Hey, listen, just a quick 3 points, and I'll get off and listen. Okay?
No problem. Yep.
You're talking about the debate that the CNN's not. That Fox is not going to be allowed to host.
Correct.
You know, they haven't been able to host one since 2004.
Yes.
So to me, that's not a big deal. I mean, yes, what you were talking about earlier about having, you know, different people question them and it being on pay-per-view, I
Yeah.
would definitely pay for that.
Right. We all want that,
And-
Mike.
And I don't know if you noticed the second point. The other night, I was watching something on CNN, and they had a group of Democratic voters, and they were talking about who they liked for future presidential runners. And Cortez got the biggest response.
Yeah,
those
I believe
guys
that 100%.
were excited about Cortez.
Well, I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of reasons for
No,
that.
she's
To me, I think
she's attractive
like
and
a
she's
Mike
relatable.
Trout in the minors. I mean,
Yeah.
she's playing her way up, and I guarantee
She's not ready. She's not ready.
No, but she's. I mean,
No.
it's
She's-
very
I think
possible.
she's scaring a lot of people right now, but like
Yeah.
I said, I think she is the future of the Democrat Party.
She might be, Mike. I don't know, but I'm going to tell you right now, and again, this is my personal opinion. I think it's going to be Joe Biden versus Donald Trump. I really feel that.
I'd love to see Joe Biden. I mean, to me, I'm looking at somebody toward the middle.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah,
Now what if Biden chooses
well,
Cortez
whatever
as
the
his
middle
VP?
is now.
that's
But,
true.
you know, somebody that's not going to be like Trump. You know, I
Mhm.
want somebody that's going to take everything seriously.
Well, I think Biden will do that.
what's best for the country. I
Yeah.
mean, that's what I'm looking for.
I think Biden will do that, Mike, and I appreciate the phone call. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Hey, thanks.
I
Thanks,
do.
Mike.
I do think it's going to be Biden. We got a couple more callers here, so let's get to those calls. I believe our next one. I think it's Steven. Johnny, is that who we got next? Yeah, Steven. Steven, thanks for calling into the Vegas Take. How are you?
Hey, Stephen.
Yes, good evening.
How are you?
I've actually got 2 points.
Sure.
I wanted to address one thing that I heard a question that asked that something that Trump had done that I believe that the host said a person of average intelligence couldn't have done.
No, I think you might have misheard me, but let me just repeat what I said. I think I know what you're referring to. Name me something that Trump did that someone of an average to above average intelligence could not do with his means.
Okay, well, I think it pops right off the page.
Okay, what's that?
Of course, you're putting down a lot of our former presidents. He got a gentleman who was terrorizing the world with atomic weapons from North Korea, I believe.
And how did that turn out? How's that turned out?
Down with him.
How's that going?
I don't believe that any of those other people have. I guess they're inferior.
No, they haven't. And not only that, but the way he did it, he leveraged Dennis Rodman to do it, which was genius.
First of all, I don't think you have to be intelligent to do that. You just have to know how to kiss somebody's ass, and that's what Donald Trump does. He kisses Vladimir Putin's ass, and he kisses Kim Jong-un's ass. So let me ask you a question, Stephen. What has he accomplished?
At least you're fair. And you call yourself a fair-minded liberal. I mean, what's
wrong, Stephen. I'm not a liberal. So if
you voted for one guy.
Why am I a liberal, Stephen?
Ran as a Republican,
I just gave you an answer. We're having an honest debate. I just gave you a response, and that's my opinion. And then you go ahead with your pea brain and call me a liberal. Goodbye. Goodbye. It's not okay. Can't stand people like you. You asked a question. You made a statement. We can disagree. I'm not a liberal, moron. Okay? Don't call me that. I'll just, it'd be like if, I'm going to assume because you're on the right, you're in the KKK. No, I would never say something like that because that'd be a dumb thing to say. It's almost as bad as what you're saying. You're just assuming that I'm way on one side of the aisle.
You can't put liberal and KKK on the same.
Well, I'm just showing how
platform.
stupid that comment was
they're
that
not
I
on the
made.
same
That's all.
planes.
Let's go to Eric. Eric, thanks for calling in. How are you, Eric?
What's up, Eric?
Well, if we're going to generalize everything, let me just say this. To be successful in business, every type of business that you could possibly want to be part of is extremely competitive. Okay? I haven't seen my home in the daylight for years. And I'm worth money. I know a lot of people that work off their dad's money, and it's a generational thing. And if you're going to make a big business and you're going to make it successful and continue on, it takes a couple, 2-3 generations.
And Brian,
and there are a lot of things that you can do that are stupid. You can make bad decisions. You can lose a lot of money.
Well, yeah, Jared Kushner's done that. He's a perfect example of that.
and most third-generation businesses fail. A lot of them fail, actually.
Do you know a lot of people, Eric, that have their fathers given them basically $500 million? You know those kind of people?
How many people are there? You know, you asked me this question.
Hello?
You know the answer to that. Let me ask you this.
No, I don't.
How many businesses
No, I don't.
do you run? I mean, what do you know about running a business?
I just asked you a question. You didn't answer it. I'm not assuming. Maybe you know a bunch of people that are billionaires.
Billionaires? None.
Okay. So how can you assume that what Donald Trump has accomplished has been so difficult and he's such a fantastic businessman?
All I'm saying is to run a business, it takes smart people.
And you know what makes it a lot easier? I understand,
people.
Eric. I understand what you're saying, but you know what makes it a lot easier? When your father hands over a $400 million company. I appreciate the call, Eric. Boy, we don't have much time. We got Scott and Chris on hold, so you two are going to have to wait on hold, and we will get to you after the break. I promise I will get to your calls when we come back. And then we'll also be joined by Jamison Welsh. I mean, I understand the point he's trying to make. It's you have to be a good businessman. Donald Trump's made some mistakes. He's made some good investments as well. But I am not going to sit here and call him a genius businessman or even a genius after his father hands over a $500 million company. I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that. And for you people out there that don't like Barack Obama, I wasn't a huge Obama fan, but I'll tell you one thing about Barack Obama. Nobody spoon-fed him. He wasn't a trust fund baby. And I respect that about him. And I respect anyone out there who starts from nothing, like a guy like Mark Cuban. And if Mark Cuban runs for president, he has my vote. I am going to tell you that right now. I respect that guy so much. 100 times over, I respect Mark Cuban more than Donald Trump because he had nothing. Nothing. We got Scott and Chris waiting on hold. I promise I'll get to you guys when we come back. Please stay with us. You're listening to the Vegas Take. 257-5396 is the number to call. We'll be back right after this.